All right, so I'm back here with the legendary Mr. John H. Thompson. Hey, and for another interview of this legend right here. I wanted to, first of all, Mr. Thompson, it's a pleasure to talk with you again.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming out, take some time out your busy schedule. I really appreciate it, sir. Really appreciate it. I know previously during our conversation we talked about the history of Brazil and its African influence, and one individual in particular that contributed to the whole history of Brazil, especially in terms of its African presence, is the great leader Zumbi. A lot of people may not know about this particular individual, but he was very prominent in Brazil, helping a lot of the African enslaved Africans in Brazil, sort of get their independence. But Mr. Thompson, I know you a very devoted historian. I know you have a wealth of knowledge, man, and I just want to ask you just about Zumbi, about who he was and why he's so important in Brazilian and Afro-Brazilian history and culture. So can you expound on that and just give us from your knowledge about Zumbi?
Yeah, well, Zumbi was of African, born in Africa, and his parents, the tribe, as a matter of fact, the tribe was captured by the Portuguese, and they brought the tribe over. Zumbi was a child, and they were separated, and of course brought here for slavery. As Zumbi was given to a priest, okay, and so he was raised by a priest for X amount of years. Eventually, he ran away from the Catholic Church and what have you, and he eventually hooked up again with his people in Brazil, and he became irritated. Number one, because I think the leader at that point was trying to make a deal with the Portuguese and with limited freedom now. The Portuguese, the Africans from slaves that eventually form a community, in Brazil, and they call them the Colombos, and they were the Palmares, and the community called it Colombo. What happened to Zumbi? I think it was about 17 or 18 at that time, and he heard about this deal being made with the leader at that point, and he got rid of him. Someone got rid of him. He died, and Zumbi took over as the leader.
One of the leaders from Portugal.
No, the leader here in Brazil.
Brazil, okay.
Yeah, well, Zumbi, he ran away from the Catholic Church where he was at, and he became a leader here. But his thing was they wanted total freedom. Zumbi wanted. They wanted no whatever kind of deal it was. There was no deal. They wanted freedom and for all of his people, and that's why Zumbi was so important. He was eventually caught, assassinated, and killed in 1695.
And he was killed by the Brazilian, I guess would it be the government or?
Well, they got a team of fighters on the Portuguese side. I forgot the name of the one who led the group, and this person had a reputation of being a pretty good leader here in Brazil, and they got him to go after Zumbi, and they captured him. I think they cut his head off. Okay, and they took his head around the country to show that Zumbi was found and killed.
Is that why, Mr. Thompson, because I know I was in Salvador, right? I know in, what's that area in Central with the Pelourinho? I know there's a Zumbi, I guess, not a statue, I guess not a memorial, but I guess it's I guess it could be a statue, but it just has his head. You know, and I know, I think there's another place too. I think here in Rio, is another statue of Zumbi, and it was just his head. Does that have any kind of, I guess, significance of,
Well,
you know, what you?
It probably was because at that time, I don't know, they couldn't take any pictures or whatever.
Right.
So the only thing from the people in that particular period of time, their memories of Zumbi, and not only that, but like I say, he was child in the Catholic when they were given to that priest or whatever. So there are a lot of people who lived during that period of time knew how Zumbi looked, and I guess that's how they come up with that image.
Okay. Now, I know you mentioned he was Quilombo. I know now the Quilombos. Now they're like former enslaved Africans that got their independence, right? They had their own communities. Can you explain?
No, these were those who had the freedom. Remember, they had a territory.
Mm-hmm.
It was a territory in Brazil that they had already conquered, and they had in Columbus, their community. They had several of them in Brazil at that time. Okay. So that's why they call it Columbus. That was the name given to and they had freedom. They were free because they had their own, and they couldn't, and the Portuguese couldn't penetrate it.
So is that similar? Because I know in Jamaica, they have the group of people called the Maroons, which is like people that formerly enslaved, got their independence through either, through like fighting, with the, I guess in Jamaica it'd be the English, or they would go through some political process to get their freedom. So is that similar to the Maroons?
It's definitely similar.
Okay.
Definitely similar.
And I know also in Colombia they have something similar, I think, called palenques. I don't know if I'm saying it right. So.
But also, even after his death, there were still Columbus that exist until, Princess Isabel signed a law of freedom, so-called freedom for the black slave.
Okay.
And then, of course, after she was forced out of the country. Okay, but the so-called freedom exists until now. So-called freedom.
So-called freedom. Gotcha. So, are there any more Quilombo communities here, in particular here in Rio or in Brazil? Do you know any that still exist?
It's no longer Colombo community anymore. It's all part of Brazil itself.
Okay.
You may have many descendants in certain parts of Brazil, probably up around Bahia or what have you.
Bahia, okay.
We thank God we don't have that anymore.
Okay.
At the same time, you don't have unity that you should have among blacks here in Brazil.
Now why is that? Why is that?
Racism and the blacks in Brazil, most of everybody in Brazil is mixed too. Anyway, we're black. The black veins run through everyone in Brazil.
Everyone.
Okay. And like I said, and J.A. Rogers said that Don Pedro himself was mixed. If you read J.A. Rogers, 100 Amazing Facts About the Negro. So there's so much in our history we don't know. And a lot of time we don't read. That's why you should read Dr. Robinson, The Journey of the Sundown People, and many other books that tell you your true history. And the problem with blacks, we don't know our true history.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that, Mr. Thompson.
And who I admire so much was the Pharaoh Pi that left Nubia and took over all of northern Africa. What a hell of a ruler he was, the Pharaoh Pi.
Okay.
Most of your pyramids in the Sudan were built by the Pharaoh Pi.
Oh, we have a.
So there's so much.
What's up, man?
There's so much about history. Where's my brother?
Hey,
Say hello.
Verdade.
My brother. So
That's my man right there.
So that's sort of an overview of the history. But the main thing is that we've been so miseducated and we don't know our history. And we really need to learn our history and teach our true history to blacks worldwide. We need to learn our history. We're the first Homo sapien. And we did so much contribution. We gave so many contributions to this whole world to be forgotten.
Absolutely. So, with that being said, Mr. Thompson, like, I know you have the Day of Zumbi, right? Coming up on
November the 20th.
November the 20th.
That's the day he was assassinated.
Okay.
1695. So thank God Rio de Janeiro have a holiday, state holiday, November the 20th.
November the 20th.
We used to march. Years ago, I marched with Benedito, Carlos Medeiros, and many other people for this holiday. We would get together at the church at the end of President Vargas, and we'll march to Zumbi statue. Years ago.
This the one over here in Central?
In Central.
Okay.
Not only did I march with in Colombo, I mean for the jail of Zumbi, I returned to New York and marched with, on one occasion, marched with Al Sharpton on the Day of Outrage. Okay, from Brooklyn at the library, Brooklyn Public Library, to City Hall with Al Sharpton because of discrimination in the United States, so, in the U.S., in New York.
Wow, wow. So, what are some, like, what do you want, like, people around the world to know specifically about not only Zumbi but the day, November 20th, about what you want the people to really learn about?
Well, I really, hopefully that we will look at our history, look at Brazilian history, look at Black history, period. And because it's so important, because for us to get together and for the solidarity here in Rio de Janeiro, because the struggle is still the same. And we still don't have equality. And if you can look at what's going on right now with the rise of white supremacy, if any time at all, we should have some unity right now. And the churches should be involved, the politicians should be involved, and all other leaders. Throw away all these differences and try to come together and get freedom, true freedom for our people.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Definitely agree with that.
And I mentioned to you before that Betty Chavez was my friend.
Right.
Betty Chavez. I met her on a plane coming from Salvador.
Yes, coming from Salvador. Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing.
And we were friends until her death. We used to talk all the time. We called each
Wow,
other.
that's amazing.
And she always kept me laughing.
And what was the reason she was in Salvador, Dr. Betty Shabazz?
Okay.
Why
Well, many years ago, there was a group of nuns who defied the Catholic Church because they felt they were being black nuns discriminated against. And what they did, they left, I think, the Salvador area, and they had their own monastery outside of Salvador. And she used to visit them. She liked even though she was Muslim, but she liked the history and how courageous they were to defy the Catholic Church and start their own monastery.
Oh wow. So how long was she in Salvador? Do you know?
Well, she was going practically every year.
Oh, really?
This
Okay.
was during the 80s.
Okay.
I was a captain at that time. This was during the 80s.
Okay.
And I met her. She was the life of the plane, and everybody was
Really?
laughing and everything. And
Really?
she was walking back and forth, and I said to myself, asked a gentleman there, I said, well, who was that? He said, oh, that's Dr. Betty Shabazz. I said, what? So I introduced myself, and from that point on, we were friends.
Wow, that's amazing.
It was
That's amazing.
And I miss her dearly, man.
Yes,
Very,
definitely.
very sad moment in my life.
Definitely, yeah, right.
For
Definitely.
her and Malcolm,
Definitely.
as well as my relatives and friends too.
Definitely.
Very sad moment in my life.
Definitely. And you said this was in the 80s, huh? So this is the time where you started to come to Brazil, right?
I met. I started coming to Brazil. My first time was in 1985. I came here in 1985 for Carnival, and I've attended 37 consecutive carnivals.
Whoa, hold on, Mr. Thompson, hold on. Let's rewind that here. How many? Okay, hold on, cause I'm 38. Yeah, I'm 38. So hold on, how many carnivals have you?
I'm gonna do the math on it now. 19. Do the math for me. I arrived in 1985, and it's now
2022. That's 37 years.
37 years.
So you pretty much been coming.
I have never missed Carnival. In 37 years, I have not missed Carnival.
That's my whole lifetime.
This will be my if I make it to February, this will be my 38th Carnival.
So that's my whole lifetime. So ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Thompson here. It's been going. He hasn't missed a carnival here in Brazil in my whole lifetime.
The one thing that's
amazing.
The one thing that sticks in my life that I like to do is to come to Carnival. For me not to come to Carnival, I'll probably be dead and what have you. But I'm not.
No, don't say that now.
I love Carnival.
Wow. That's amazing. That's amazing.
It is. I thought it was amazing too. We're going to talk about the Guinness Book of Record, I think.
Oh, there's nothing to talk about. I'm quite sure that record broken. You broke that record. Record.
Now, for a Black American now. I wouldn't say that it's for everybody.
For everybody, I got
Black
you.
American.
All right, okay.
And the Carnival of Rio, not Salvador Bahia, but the Carnival of Rio.
So have you been to the carnival in El Salvador? Have you been?
I've been to Salvador during the Carnival. I run up there and come right back,
Okay.
During those periods of time, I could afford to do things like that.
Okay, I got you.
I was driving the Silver Shadow.
I got you.
But I just thank God to be around and this many years, and back and forth from California. I go to California a lot. One of my childhood friends sent me something the other day. As a matter of fact, my mom used to babysit Sugar Ray Robson's son, Ronnie Robson.
Oh, wow.
And she knows Sugar Ray. And she knew Bunker Johnson.
Wow.
So there's a lot of history that was given to me.
Wow, that's amazing.
I just wish I met James Baldwin and some of the other great writers during that time. At the Harlem.
Oh yeah, doing the oh man, that's an epic. Yeah, Langston Hughes.
Tales of Symphony.
Right. Wasn't Ralph Ellison? Was he part of that too?
I think if I'm not mistaken, Ralph Ellison was.
Yeah.
There's so many great. That's why we need to get our children to
Richard Wright.
Richard Wright to start reading and learning their true history.
Absolutely.
And not his story, but their true history.
Absolutely, Mr. Thompson.
That's so important.
Absolutely.
Judge Jackson called me a couple of days ago. He wrote, sent me an email rather. He wrote Black People in the Bible, Judge Randolph Jackson. Mm-hmm. And some of my mentors, like the late judge, Republican judge, Bramwell, and the Democratic judge, Silver Cooper, Jewish, and some of the other people I met, and her husband, the lawyer, called me, he's 97 years old, called me a few days ago. It was just a lot of people I met, and they, it was my, I guess, encouragement
right.
to take chances and to do this and do that properly and get away from that environment I grew up in. You know what I'm saying? Judge William Thompson, like I mentioned in Bramwell.
Now about that, we just said, Mr. Thompson. So about leaving your environment. Now, what are some things to there's people right now, especially like a lot of African Americans in the West that's sort of leaving America, leaving Europe, coming here to Brazil, and what are some things that for the people that's coming here to Brazil, what do they need to understand in order to get adjusted to life here in Brazil, in terms if they want to move here long term or move here permanently? What are some things they need to understand to get adjusted here in Brazil?
Well, if you're of African descent, your treatment would probably be a little different than others because Brazil has its own racial issues too. My thing is just respect and respect others, be kind to others, and that's what I've always. I started my first charity, but it started with Brazil and New York around 1987. It was for Bedford Stuyvesant and Brazil, and from that point on until now, but I'm more into trying to help the kids here in Brazil and making them put a smile on their face. I felt so sorry walking around the street during Christmas, the Christmas period, and you got young little black kids sleeping on the street. They don't have any toys or anything. And I started giving toys to the kids, and then I started an organization, U.S. Karaoke Brother for Brazil charity, and now it's the Brazil All You Need charity. So these are things that I mean, the main thing is to give to people if you can, and you can afford to give, and not be selfish. And stay away from the drugs and all that other crazy stuff.
Oh man! Now you talking about
and I gave up drinking too.
Oh hey!
In 1980, I gave up drinking.
Congratulations! Wow! So we talking pushing, but definitely over 40 years you've been. No drinking in 40 years.
No drinking, no drugs, no nothing.
Since 1980.
I stopped drinking.
Wow!
I was never into drugs, but
wow!
I stopped drinking in 1980, and that saved my life. I didn't go back. Attend college and complete my education. So, that was more important to me, I think. It saved my life too.
Wow.
Especially as an officer.
Wow.
And you know that I saved 3 lives. Decorated by the mayor for one.
The mayor, and you got the what was the medal? Was it not the medal of honor? The medal of honor, right?
Hero medal.
Right. That's amazing. Definitely, Mr. Thompson. I mean, you're wow. What? I can't find the right adjectives to describe because I mean you literally done everything, man. I mean it's.
Well, you try to be a role model, But no angels walk this earth. If I write a book, that would be a title. No angels walk this earth. So we just try to be a role model and try to give to those who don't have. Okay, that's the main thing, have compassion for individuals and people, and love for people too.
Absolutely, Mr. Thompson. All right, so one final thing I'm going to ask you. Pretty much with Brazil being probably one of the biggest black Afro populations in the world outside of Africa. Do you think like people from the diaspora coming from America, Europe, you think people should come to Brazil before they go to Africa, or do you think should they go to Africa first? Because a lot of people now they try to find their ancestry. And with me, for example, I just found out my ancestry from Guinea-Bissau, which is in Africa, and they speak Portuguese there. But with all the, Africa is still going on with the whole, lack of infrastructure, the problems that go on in Africa. Compare that to here in South America, in particular Brazil, it's not as bad. So, do you recommend especially for people to understand who they are, from African descent, do you recommend should they come here to Brazil first, to establish, to find that, or do they need to go to Africa first and try to I guess find out about themselves, where they come from and all that. So in response to your question, first of all, I think what we need to do is to try to get our situation together in the United States with all the poverty,
gang violence, to killing. If anything should be paramount to us as black people, is trying to stop the violence and unite together and make sure that our politicians get on the same board and everything, your religious institutions. And we have to stop. We got to, when we do anything, we have to stop all the violence that's going on in our community. So that's paramount. Read your history. Start reading your history, but teach your history to your kids, the true history. Okay? But we have to find out, we have to try to get an end to poverty and what's going on in our community. We're waiting for the demand to do it. It'll never get done. We have to work together, unite together, and solve the problem that we have in our community before we go anywhere in the world. But we got a serious problem in the United States with killing each other the way they do it right now. We have to solve that. You can read about, you can go to get the right books and read about your history. But straighten out the community and all the problems in the United States first and stop killing each other, and then we can look at the rest of the world.
That's absolute fact.
It's very sad what's going on around the United States and with blacks against black. We have to unite. Okay? Find a way of getting programs where we can have something for these young people to do after school. Have some program where they can get a little stipend and everything. Look at the plight of the single women raising these kids and everything. All right? Instead of drugs and before you know it, you're in jail and you got kids left behind. No, we got some serious things that we need to sit down and have a nationwide conferences on how are we going to straighten out the problem we have in our black community. And I will close with that.
Hey, okay, definitely. So, any last words you want to just say about?
Well, yeah, join us for the Day of Zumbi.
Okay, you said that's November 20th.
November 20th, and come and visit Brazil, and you can family, friends, children, let them see what Brazil is about. And learn something about your black neighbors here and what have you, and try to get a unity. We can, maybe together we can try to solve all these problems, but let's unite and get together.
Okay, definitely, Mr. Thompson. Hey, it was, once again, it was a pleasure being in your presence. I mean, like I say, I'm feeling like, well, one of those fans, that's looking at their idol right now,
Well, look at you can come down for 37 Carnival too now.
Hey, I just got my first one out the way, so But definitely, Mr. Thompson. Thank you for
and thank you, my brother.
Yeah, thank you.
I appreciate you taking the time out.
Oh man, hey, it's all you, all you. So, real quick, Mr. Thompson, where can everyone can contact you? Where they can find you, especially when for the
I live
Zumbi?
back and forth. I live in New York and I live here.
Okay.
In the Bronx now.
Okay.
And I'm in Rio.
Okay. Well, in terms of
they can call me at a number now.
Okay.
646-485-6055. I'm on Facebook, and WhatsApp is 5521-999-71-8479. Give me a call anytime. Probably the best way to reach me is through WhatsApp.
WhatsApp. Definitely. And I will have all your contact on my page. Right. And so everybody can reach out to you.
I appreciate it, my brother.
Yeah. Once again, Mr. Thompson, thanks a lot. And hey, make sure y'all like, comment, share, subscribe, please. Definitely, cause this was major. This was major. So on that note, hey, hope everybody be safe out there, and we'll talk with you later. Peace out.
Peace.